Harrison for Card Player TV, and I'm here today with Greg Raymer. How you doing, Greg?
Doing all right. Doing all right. No good luck in the tournament yet, but you know it's early.
It's early. There's plenty of tournaments
I'm very happy
left.
with how I'm playing. I'm very happy with my decisions.
So today I want to talk to you about your main event win. I've talked to you about so many things, but we've never actually discussed it. I wasn't with Card Player at the time, so.
Well, the poker world was so much smaller,
Yeah.
even 4 years ago.
I mean, I've seen it on TV.
The boom had started, but it was still rising
It was
dramatically fast when I won.
Definitely.
So things are so different than they used to be.
Well, what do you think is the biggest change between the year that you won the main event and 2008?
Well, besides the numbers, besides just the numbers of players competing, I think what we're seeing is that the skill level is going up. It's getting harder to win. I mean, it's harder to win when you have to beat more people, no matter what the skill level they have. But when they're better players, then of course it becomes that much more difficult. So in 2003, 2004, you know, when I played the main event those years, we would kind of make fun of the internet players.
Really?
And how bad they were. And they were horrible.
Were they just too aggressive? Was that what it was?
They were, the term I use to describe the players then, and it still applies to a lot of players, both live and online, is lagtard. You know what a lag is, someone
Yes.
who's loose and aggressive, and you know what a retard is. So you can be a really good, skillful, winning lag player.
Oh, definitely.
But some of them are just retards about it. You know, they're in a spot where it should be dead obvious that they cannot bluff this person. It's obvious to everyone on the rail. It's obvious to everyone else at the table, but they just keep trying.
They put the bet in.
They keep doing it and doing it. And they just keep trying to hammer. So they're just, you know, loose, aggressive with no thought or plan behind it. And that's what a lot of the online players were back then, because their opponents were so timid that they could win just by being aggressive. And they didn't have to be smart about it. But that's not true anymore.
So how has their play changed since then?
Well, now a lot of them are still lags, but
They're picking
you know,
their spots better?
They have developed a better sense of, you know, when to push and when not to push. You know, and they've learned, like, why bluff with nothing if I can wait until I at least have a gut shot straight draw, you know, something, so that when I fail in the bluff, I still have at least 10 or 20 or maybe even 30 or 40% equity in the pot, even when they call my bluff.
Okay.
So they've learned to be more selective. They've learned that they can't do it hand after hand and get away with it.
Right.
That they're just setting themselves up to get trapped. And then so now what's happened is that because of all the hands they've played, because of now it's been 4 years later, and a lot of those players have all that experience and those millions of hands that they've played, they've gotten very good at kind of the basic strategy of poker. So if you can compare it to blackjack, you know, they know what the default play should be for any situation. And because of that, they're not making these stupid, I mean, it was, my first double up in the 2004 World Championship was in the second level. I had chipped up to 13,000. I had an opponent who had me covered by a few hundred. He raises under the gun to 300, which was a normal raise for the second level.
Yeah.
I called on the button with pocket eights, and the flop came Jack 8-3. So he puts in 300 pre-flop with a pair of kings, and then he puts in another 13,000 after the flop with a pair of kings.
He moved all in on the flop?
Well, he bet, I raised, he raised, I pushed in, he called. I mean, it went back and forth, but the thing is that, you know, most players would know at that point that they can only beat a bluff. That's it. You know, when I put in the fourth raise all in pre-flop, even if I'm someone you've never seen before, you know that you can only beat a bluff. This person does not have like ace-jack and they think they have the best hand.
Yeah.
You know, if it had been the jack of clubs and then the 8 of hearts, 3 of hearts, well, now I can have ace-jack of hearts.
Definitely.
But then I'm still ahead of your kings. I'm still a favorite with 14 outs twice. But this is like Jack 8-3 rainbow. There's no realistic draw you can put me on that I'm going to risk all my chips. Maybe you think I have 9-10, but then you're still only a 2-1 favorite when you're right. And when you're wrong, you've got 2 outs twice and you're a 9-1 dog. So a good player's not going to go broke in that spot.
So you think a player in this year's field may not go broke as the player did 4 years ago?
I think I'm going to find the players like that less often than I did in 04. I got lots of kind of cheap double-ups and stuff like that. There was even a hand on TV. It's a scene they use over and over. Not the whole hand, but no, I feel guilty because I forget the guy's name. He was the guy who shouted out the line, "This is the greatest tournament ever," or something like that. They use all the time in the promos.
Yeah.
And when I knocked him out, he took his hat and he whacked it on the table, and a bunch of napkins flew up that were sitting there. And he had gone broke to me for like 1 million chips on something like day 4 or day 5 when I'd flopped a set of sixes and he had like top pair, top kicker with ace-10. And that's not something you're going to find as often.
That's true.
I mean, he was a super aggressive player, and he was the one who pushed in, so there was a chance I'm going to fold. And that was what he was mostly betting on. So it wasn't so much that he made a mistake in an absolute sense. You know, he ran into a hand that I was never going to fold.
Oh, yeah.
But, you know, the opposite thing was back then I would find more players that would go broke in a spot like that where they called all in with the one pair hand.
Really?
You know, and you're not finding that as often anymore. So now when you get someone who's all in a horrible spot, it's because they were bluffing, which always means that there was some chance they were going to win.
Yeah.
There was always some, you don't know what your opponent has, they might fold. So kind of the people just calling with, you know, or people that would just call you down with second or third pair on the flop. You know, they call your raise with 6-7. You know, the flop comes 10-7-3, and they put you on ace-king, and they call a bet on the flop, turn, and river. It's possible that they're right.
Oh, yeah.
But
possible.
They're not making a profit
Not
on average
yeah.
in those spots. Usually they're beat in those spots when someone fires 3 bullets. So just the average quality of play is much higher now. So even though we still have thousands of players in the main event, and even though there's still players who are quite inexperienced and aren't very good,
quite a few.
there's just nowhere near as many as there was in '04.